So right now, it's never been easier to start a recruitment agency. However, it's never been as hard to actually make your agency a success. Now, I'm going to unpack a few things in this video: state of the market, what you should do if you're starting an agency new, and really and truly just some advice and my thoughts about what's going on, talking to a bunch of people and seeing what's happening. So, what I mean by it's never been hard, we've always had a position where no matter what the market's doing, we either have an abundance of clients or we have an abundance of candidates. So in a recession, we have a lot of candidates. We have less clients hiring. Right now, it seems like, or when the market's booming, we have a ton of clients and not many candidates. And obviously we get paid for that. Right now, it seems like nobody is hiring. And also nobody is looking for a job. That's just my gut feeling at the moment. It doesn't seem like, oh, okay, this is the boom of recruitment. This happened 2, 3 years ago. Now, that being said, recruitment is cyclical, meaning there are cycles to it. It's like any other market. Every 2 years, every 4 years, we have these positions where everyone's making so much money. When is this ever going to end? And then it seems like we're coming out of the bottom of the sort of market where it's not many people hiring. So that's the good news. I feel like we're sort of coming out of it. Now, I don't know exactly why. I think it's a very few factors that could actually play in. So economy is one, market sentiment about hiring, our companies growing, and generally the UK, etc. People waiting for the elections, people immigrating, etc. So there's a lot of factors that come into play when deciding this. So what should you do if you're looking at starting an agency, or you've started one, or your agency's going and then it's not going as great as it used to? This is a problem that many people don't talk about. They think their agency is just going to go like that, and it's very difficult to actually say what you should do or what anyone should do, really, myself included. And what I would say is, look, the market will reset. Now, the good news is, what I mean by reset is people always leave recruitment. It's a big sector, it hires a lot of people. And people that made a lot of money start to think, this ain't for me, recruitment's dead. The amount of times I've heard recruitment is dead. From experience being in the sector, I know for a fact, hey, look, there was times where it was like, they even said email was going to kill recruitment. AI is going to kill recruitment. Automation is going to kill recruitment. We've heard it all. The recession, GDPR is going to kill recruitment. We've heard it all. And this just feels like it's that same old story again. And the good news is, if you stick through it, and I don't mean, just hanging around for a few weeks. I mean, give it a year or two, and probably you'll hit the market where it booms and you can make a lot of cash. That's my prediction anyway. It could happen sooner. It could happen even in the third, fourth quarter. And I don't know everything. It could potentially happen overnight. Yeah. But can I see the recruitment sectors growing as they were? I don't think tech will boom back as it was. I think a lot's changed in that sector. There's a lot of technology coming out, and the UK isn't at the forefront of it. I think places like healthcare, engineering, social care will do very well moving forward into the future. So, touching on what you should be doing is hanging in there is the worst advice probably someone can give. But people leave the sector. There's a mass exodus. I call it the reset. There's always a recruitment reset, as in people leave the sector. Yeah. And only the strong will survive in that sense. Yeah. And look, it might seem very daunting. I've spoke to a lot of people who can't get traction. I've seen people's billings. I've looked at my own and seen been like, whoa, this isn't what it used to be in that sense. So touching on, the billings, the earnings, there's also a race to the bottom in fees. And this is something that's happened throughout recruitment. I mean, this is a bit of a negative video, but the fees seem to be falling, and I can't pinpoint why. Usually they have a little bounce back, but it just seems like there's a race to the bottom with the fees. It seems like 15-20% was sort of, an established agency would charge that. And now that seems, any client, what they say is, oh, we've got these agencies on 10%, we can't pay you 15%. And that seems to be working. There's nothing really you can rebut on that. You can give some spiel about, oh, we're the better agency, we got better reach and all that. But clients don't want to hear it, especially if they've got agencies that are delivering on it. They're not interested in hearing, oh, we could save you this and this. It seems like if we essentially, this is what I see from people actually recruiting now. It's only if they essentially need that person, as in we're desperate, we need that person to, otherwise our business loses money or we get in trouble, whatever. And we want it for the lowest price possible. I think there's a lot of overseas people recruiting in the UK as well. We're dropping the fees, race to the bottom. And I'm all for one. I've never been an expensive quota, even working for myself, working for other people. It's always been the case of, if I can do the best service at the cheapest price, everyone will use me naturally. That's just how it seemed to be for me. But touching on back to people going on and starting new agencies, I would stick at 10%. Yeah, and I would stay at 10% and stick to your guns. Don't just start to get tempted to drop it down to 8% to close. But it is all about sector now. There's very, very little movement on a lot of sectors. I would say 2 years ago, 90% of the sectors that would use agencies before are not going to use agencies now. There's literally 5 or 10 sectors that are worth looking at. When I say sectors, I wouldn't even say IT is worth starting an agency. Forget it. No way. If you're starting a business, you need to go into sectors where you can see recruiters are busy in. Yeah, and just go into there. You cannot be going into doing anything fancy. Unfortunately, it seems very boring to go into healthcare. Yeah, maybe finance, engineering is always going to be good. Yeah, especially in the UK. But I just don't feel like doing anything fancy, hearing about, oh, I'm going to start cybersecurity or AI. These things just don't bode well in the market. The market will tell you everything. If you've started your agency, you've started cold calling, sending out some cold emails, and you can't even pick up a bunch of clients, it just doesn't work. And another thing that I'm very guilty of, that I think agencies are changing, whereas we used to be very much cold calls, cold email. Now I see, and don't forget, I see a lot of successful agencies, and I think, why are they doing better than me? Like, I'm better than them as a recruiter. But I think recruitment agencies, this is going to be a weird statement to make. Recruitment agencies are becoming marketing agencies, and that doesn't make any sense to anyone. But I feel that if you're not branding, you're not doing, I'm not talking about making TikTok videos, you're not building a brand around yourself. Yeah, job boards, all that, anyone can access that. You need some hook to get in more candidates, to get in more clients, to get more clients to say yes to you. Because clients see your email, they might look at your company and think, oh, I'm not using that guy, his website looks crap. And he's probably not going to spend any money on advertisement because he's got a £50 website. So there are a lot of things that I think are changing. And when I say having a fancy website ain't really going to change anything, but if you've got some hook in the market, something that sets you apart, basically in business, you need a monopoly. You need to be the one thing that people think of. It's not a brand. People talk about branding, they don't know anything. It's about having the control where no one has a choice but they see you everywhere. Yeah. And that's just how I think recruitment is going to become, to the point where I'm thinking I need to revamp everything in terms of design, processes, maybe even it's because it's, if you're not getting some sort of inbound, you're probably not gonna survive in the next, well, 2 to 5 years maybe. I think it's a weird time, trust me. You can pick up business and survive and all that, but to be a market leader, you need to really have your consultants and everyone out there, not just cold calling, but actually building personal brands around themselves. Recruiters, it's all about personal brand, and that's what it's become. That's what it's going to go. So this is a negative video and with somewhat positive outcome, but I thought I'd just lay my thoughts out on it. But it will get better. It always does. And there's never a time where recruitment's died. It's impossible. It's the biggest sector, the labor market. Yeah, bigger than finance, bigger than IT. Labor is what moves the world. So I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful. Any questions and thoughts? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. I'll get back to everyone.